host and content creator, and she is carving out her own path in the digital entertainment and lifestyle space. I already know that you guys know who I'm talking about. Releasing weekly videos covering vlogs, choreography, style, and fashion, comedy sketches, DIY, and a new merchandise line, plus a newly launched podcast entitled Just a Tip. She is extremely busy. She now has close to 1 million followers, 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and over 74 million views on her channel since it launched. She's here to talk about how she fits it all in and yet has so much time to give back to her fans. That's you guys. Give it up for Megan Batoon! Describe you, they just went wilder and wilder and wilder. So, you are so vibrant and so incredibly knowledgeable on your channel. I want to ask you, how different is your on-screen persona from how you actually are in real life?
Ooh, that's a really good question. Hi. I feel like my on-screen persona is who I am, except for, that's when I'm energetic. And then, I'm such an introvert that when I'm not around people, I'm like,
really? Watching your videos, I cannot imagine you being all...
I remember one time I was in my living room, and my house is right next to my neighbor's house, and our windows line up, super creepy.
That is kind of weird.
Yeah, I was like, who designed this? And so I was sitting there like this. And then, hi, Mom. And my neighbor walked by and I was like, oh no, I look like a serial killer if I'm just sitting like that. But yeah, when I'm not doing anything, I just like to be a nothing person.
Well, maybe because it takes so much energy to be who you really are. You need some time to rest.
No? You have to rest.
Yes, you do. And you were entitled to rest and be like that and not be called a serial killer. Can you tell us about a certain challenge that you faced in your journey so far and what that particular challenge has taught you?
Yeah, ooh, okay. There's so many. I only started YouTube, I think 2012, so 6 years ago. I think that's when I started. And there's been so many different challenges of just people trying to tear you down a bit, what you look like or if you pronounce a word wrong. But I think something that I would really, that resonates a lot with me is losing inspiration, especially I'm sure a bunch of you also make YouTube videos, and it's how much do we have in our brains that we have to consistently upload every single week? What's new? What hasn't been done? How are we putting ourselves on the back burner and putting our content first? So it's we've got to go back to the roots of why we started what we're doing. We're doing it to make other people happy. We're doing it to make ourselves happy. And how do we get back to that? And so whenever I lose inspiration, I take a step back and then I watch something that inspires me. I watch some of my favorite comedians, other content creators that I really respect. And then I go, okay, this is what it's all about. It's not about the views, it's not about the numbers, it's not about figuring out what the algorithm is gonna like this day. It's do you like what you're making? Do you wanna see what you're making? And that's what I always go back to.
Another thing that we see gives you strength would be your friends, your support system, and you talk about them a lot in your videos. How do you identify who you can actually trust?
Really good question. I don't know if I have an exact answer because, I don't know, people change all the time. Some of the people that you could trust for your whole life end up being some people that you can't. So
it happens, yes.
I think it all comes down to if you trust yourself, because you will always have you, even if all of the other people around you start to flake off or change themselves. Everyone's going through the same processes. We're all trying to figure life out together. So if you can be someone that you trust, you're always good for you. And then if you also trust yourself, you're good for the people that trust and rely on you too.
This is great advice, and if there's anything that you want to ask all our panelists, don't forget to use the hashtag #AskIAGT for later's super panel. I'm going to be reading out questions from your fans as well in a minute, but I have one more before we go to questions from the audience. What's your personal mantra for success?
My personal
mantra for success.
Mantra? Oh gosh. I don't know if I have a mantra, like something I like say in the mirror. I don't have one of those.
Your words are powerful.
Yeah, they definitely are. I wish I had a better mantra. I don't have something succinct, but like the success doesn't come easy, and it's not a one-way street, nor is it, I think I said this in a video once, it's not well paved either. Success looks like a drawing with your eyes closed. Like it's never gonna be good, but you have pockets of success. I have a friend that was like, success and failure are both temporary. So it's like, don't get a big head when you do something well, and also don't be too hard on yourself if something goes wrong. It's an ebb and flow, and as long as you keep persisting and you're doing it for the right reasons, you're always going to succeed.
That's fantastic advice, and I know I promise you guys that I love you more and more with each sentence that comes out of your mouth. How about we go to questions from our audience? Can we look for Angel, please? Angel Vicente? There she is, Angel Rose. Where's Angel? When I said Angel, so many people raised their hands. There only has to be one Angel Vicente in the
Everyone from heaven is like,
okay, can I see your license? Your registration? No. I believe that you are who you say you are. So she asks, we listen to your podcast, Just a Tip, every week. Since this is your first time in the Philippines, what is the ultimate tip that you want to share with anyone who wants to make the most out of life? Wow, Angel.
Ooh, other than trying sisig?
You like sisig?
Oh my
Sisig is
God.
so good.
I had it for the first time today. I'm a horrible Filipino. I thought pork adobo was my favorite food, and I was like, yeah, end of the earth. And then I was like, oh,
Dethroned by sisig.
Easily. What was the question?
We got lost because we were also like,
I remember how like fatty it was, and I was like, oh.
Mutual admiration for sisig can derail you from the actual code. I cannot blame you. She asked, what do you want to share with anyone who wants to make the most out of life?
Oh gosh. Okay. I guess the easiest answer would be have fun in whatever you're doing, because we're gonna have to do so many things, a lot of things that we want to do and a lot of things that we don't want to do. But even the stuff that we don't want to do, what's the point of complaining about it? Why don't we just like, oh, we have to go grocery shopping? But like, what if we had fun with it? What if we play our favorite music as we're trying to figure out how much money we can spend on groceries this week? Like anything that you do, just have fun with it, because one, you're already doing it anyway, might as well have a good time, and two, it'll be more fun if you have more fun. So have fun is my advice.
I think she says we should have fun.
I think so too.
Did you get that, Angel? She did. Okay. How about Sharina Peralta? There is Sharina.
Hello, cool hat.
This is a very specific question. She obviously follows you very closely. She goes, you mentioned before that your parents didn't support you at first when you decided to pursue dancing as a career, and I'd like to know where you got your motivation or how you made yourself inspired during that time to prove to your parents that you made the right decision.
Oh gosh. I guess the inspiration came from how badly I wanted it. I didn't have to motivate myself because it was like, that was the only option. I feel like a kind of a bad kid actually, because my parents saved up money from when I was born to put me into a state school, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go to a private art school and you can't stop me. I was so stubborn. And then by the time I went to the private art school, I was like, never mind, I want to be a professional dancer, which is like a very hard industry to break into. And so, my parents are, one of my parents is full Filipino, and so it's traditional, like you're gonna be a nurse, you're gonna go to school, and you're gonna do it the right way, and this is what we know, that's what they know success is. And every parent, I'm sure there's a bunch of you in here too, all that they want is the best for their kid. And the reason I think that my dad wanted me to go to school and be an art major or a nurse or whatever it was, is because that's what they knew I would be safe and successful at. And so when you throw something at them that they've never heard of before, dancing in movies or whatever, they're gonna be like, first of all, you can't do it because I don't know about it. And I think that parents are just trying to protect you, and so my motivation was kind of showing them that I will be protected by all of my hard work and my dedication to making dance happen. And I think once they understood and saw firsthand that I was able to support myself, and not only me, I was able to help them out monetarily, I think that they were much more willing to let me go and try and live my dream.
And that's something so relatable, because I'm sure a lot of us here, myself included, I'm a radio DJ. So when I first started on that path, my parents were like, there's no money there. How are you going to support yourself? And you know, your advice was great. You just have to show them that you equipped me with, you know, how you brought me up. So
yes.
please trust that I can do this.
Great.
Fantastic advice. Okay, how about Mike Garcia? Mikey Garcia, where are you? There is Mikey. Mikey goes, what would you attribute your success to?
Hard work. That's it. Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. If you got talent, awesome. But that doesn't mean anything if you don't work for it.
Very true. Very, very true. But Mikey has another question. This one is a little lighter. Aside from sisig, which you mentioned, what is the best thing about being half Filipino?
Ooh. Okay, so aside from sisig
And adobo.
and adobo, I think I mean just the amount of pride and love that we have for our culture is unsurmountable. I don't think I know any other type of person that has what we have. It's almost like, also my favorite thing, I live in LA now, and when I see somebody that's Filipino, I can already tell. I'm like, you're Filipino, aren't you? And they never believe that I am, but I'm like, yo, I am. But it's like because it's like when you're driving on the freeway or you're driving, you're like, hey, we have the same car. That's like the same thing about finding another Filipino person, but the difference between us is like, what do you want to eat? Like, what can I give you to show you that I love you? Like, let's feed each other, let's nourish each other. I love that Filipinos are always in each other's corner. I think that's so special, and like, no one else has that.
Yeah, we're so homey, we're so inclusive. Like, once you find out that someone even has like 0.5 Filipino blood, oh my God, come over. I'm gonna introduce you to my mom, she's gonna cook for you. That's how we really are. So thank you to Mikey for your questions. We have a couple more. Let's go to Andrea Ungson. Andrea's very happy. Andrea loves you. Yes, she does. She goes, what is the best lesson that you have learned throughout these years on YouTube?
Oh gosh, the best lesson. I mean, I would repeat myself, but I will. Make what you want to make, and again, have fun with it. Because if you're not having fun making your videos, people aren't going to have fun watching them.
There you go. Are you Kileg? Where are you? Yes, she's trying to collect herself. One last question from the audience, and this one comes in from Dorcas Torres. Dorcas, are you here? We have this little baby over there trying to get your attention.
Hello.
Dorcas is over there. Dorcas goes, what would your advice be to your teenage self? Teenage maiden.
My teenage self. Ooh.
Nah. We're all just making weird sounds.
I feel like my teenage self wouldn't listen to anything I had to say.
But yeah, teenage us's were very stubborn, weren't they?
100%. I guess, save your money and don't hesitate to do something that you think you want to do. I would give that advice to myself right now.
Would you listen?
I really should.
You really should. So some of you are teenagers here yourselves, so please listen to that, because I would tell myself that it'll stop buying those bags and stuff and start saving, please. And that's about it for the questions from the audience for this round. But don't you worry, if I didn't get to ask your question, you still have time to go ahead and tweet us. The hashtag to use is hashtag AskIAGT, and we're going to be asking all your questions to the super panel later on. I know you have something special prepared for us.
Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. So I'm going to let you go so you can prepare. But before I do that, I'm going to introduce you again, but I have to give them the chance to scream for you. Miss Megan Batoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
There you go. So she will be coming back
shortly.
Yes, she will. Very, very shortly. They're already super excited. I can't wait to see her.